Does that bring back memories, that intro song?
Yeah, it's still fresh.
Old school.
Old school. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Camera Life podcast. This is a very random show. We just threw this in last minute because there's some breaking news coming out pretty soon out of Japan. Well, actually, out of Shanghai.
Shanghai, yeah.
But before we get to that, what date is it? This is our second podcast today. My brain is a scramble.
Well, it's June the 12th.
It's still the 12th.
It is still the 12th, same as this morning. We had a great show this morning. It was very popular too.
Yeah.
One of our most popular interviews to date.
That's great.
Very cool. Craig Watto Watson.
Yeah, fascinating story. Like, he's done so much.
He's done a lot of photography.
A lot of photography, and just, he talked about accidents. We've talked about happy accidents before, but he just followed his nose. He
wiggled his way through an amazing career and is still going. What's Elena saying? Way to confuse the people. Who are we confusing?
Yeah, are you confused, Elena?
Yeah, tell us what's going on.
I'm always confused. So
Paul says you guys again. Yeah, us again.
Yeah, sorry, Paul.
I know who can handle us twice in one day. Yes, Dave's right. He was interesting. Great guest. Very interesting.
Yeah.
So feel free to go back and watch that later or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcast, whenever you go for a jog or something, take the dog for a walk, whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
Trying to
have a listen.
Get through the workday. But yeah, tonight we're going to be talking about Fujifilm's big release that they've been teasing at their X Summit in Shanghai. So I don't know, where do we start? Do we go over what they've released so far? They've been tell me this, because you're a Fuji historian, fan. You've dabbled.
Yeah.
Have they always do these summits? That's their thing. That's how they release stuff. They always call them an X Summit. They host them in different. It's their thing now. So is that fairly new, or is it?
No, it's been around for quite a while. They do different versions of it, but I remember in the early days with, I think it was like the X100 Mark IV or even maybe the 3, they would actually do a big stage show, usually in Japan, and they'd broadcast it and they'd fill a theater with people, bit Apple-esque,
Okay.
But with
turtlenecks and a big thing.
Turtlenecks and tight jeans.
1,000 photos in your pocket.
Yeah. And often in the past, they've had sort of people get up and present. They'll have famous photographers that they've brought on board, like what Andrew Hall does here in Australia for Fujifilm Australia. He will often test new gear and give his view on how that will resonate with the Australian market, as well as providing tech advice and feedback and all that sort of thing. Often, and they often have like two tables, and on one table will be all of the industry people, like the photographers that tested the gear, and on the other table they'll have the Fujifilm people that designed it. And then they'll have a presenter, and then people will take turns talking about the gear, and they'll all have a camera in front of them, whatever it is, or the lenses. In the past, they've also released roadmaps, so kind of, graphical versions of what's coming, what's been, what's happening right now at this particular launch. The last few launches have been pretty dynamic. They did one in Australia. Our good friend Charlie Blevins, and I think Matt Crummins and maybe even Russell Lord were involved in that one. Yeah, it was.
Was that the big GFX one?
That was the big GFX 100S Mark II and the 500mm f4.5, or is it a 5.6? Either way,
5.6, I think. Yeah,
5.6. Yeah, the big 500. I think Matt was in that. Charlie was the Fujifilm representative that revealed the GFX 100S to the world, Mark II to the world, which was. I was really proud of him when I saw that moment, because I've known Charlie for years, so that was pretty cool. Seeing that he'd sort of come full circle from being just a Fuji shooter like me, and managed to land a gig at Fujifilm, and here he is revealing one of the best cameras around at the moment to the world in terms of that sort of offering. It was pretty cool. So these summits, they tend to be a bit punchier now. And they often rely on their ambassadors or creators, depending on what the product is, to, they'll have some pre-filmed clips sometimes of people getting out and about with the gear, with whatever it is. So yeah, I think we'll see something very similar tonight. I think we'll see some sort of, let's cut to the clip kind of thing. And then the CEO of Fujifilm, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. That's terrible. He will, he'll probably showcase the product and say, here it is. And then they'll cut to some close-ups. And so it's interesting. According to the rumor sites, and we're only basing all of this on rumor sites at this point in time. We'll know a different story in about 7 minutes, or at least the start of it. The rumor sites have all been saying, originally they were saying it was 2 cameras being released at this summit, and they were sure of it. They were, they had locked it in. That rumor sites were, they will say you can take it to the bank. Yeah. And then I think it was last week they pivoted really quickly and said, 1 camera confirmed and 1 lens, but no one knew what it was. Everyone was speculating because, when you follow a brand, and you would know this with Canon, what sort of needs to be updated soon. When you hit that sort of 4 or 5 year mark with a camera, especially,
there's a cycle. Yeah, there's a cycle, and it doesn't always lay out that way, but it gets pretty consistent with, especially their core line usually, unless you were shooting Canon and you were waiting for the 5D Mark IV, in which case you ended up switching to Nikon because they took too long, and then you switch back to Canon later. That's not me. But it's there's this. I mean, this is what I was interested. Where I was going with this before is actually before we do that, before we look at Fujifilm socials, I want to say good evening to some more people in the chat.
Oh yeah.
Felicity Johnson, good evening. Random is good. Yes. Ian Thompson, good evening. Tim Siamis, good to see you. Good evening.
Good to see you, mate.
And editor Seb. What's up, Seb?
Hey.
What I was looking at before and what I was going to ask you about is they've teased a couple of things about this launch that are not obvious, but like they're pretty solid clues.
And I've thought about this, and often we draw comparisons between this and Nintendo. Both Japanese companies, both love doing product reveals, all that sort of stuff. And there's a very, the Switch 2 was leaked early by a third-party accessory maker, and so Nintendo came out with a teaser for the Switch 2, very quick teaser. And Fujifilm are now doing the same sort of stuff. They're providing like these silhouettes of what's coming. The most recent, you got the most recent one there with the little.
Yeah, I'll bring that up next. I'll talk about this one first, though, just quickly. And if you're listening along, jump in the chat and tell us, what do you think they're going to release, or what do you want them to release? What sort of specs do you want to see? Like, what are you waiting for?
What do you hope for?
What do you hope for? We know what Greg's hoping for. A little update for himself, but
a quarter frame.
A quarter frame.
X quarter. You said this morning, X and eighth.
Currently, I've got YouTube up in another screen with the live just sitting there waiting, and so there's 1,219 people waiting to watch the live currently. I guess I'm one of them, and the live chat's going a bit crazy over there too. Maybe we'll peek an eye in on that. But so this one, this first little leak. Oh no, it's not a leak. What would you teaser? This teaser they put out.
Yeah.
Basically, it's teasing the X Summit, and it basically says the caption says part of our heritage, essential to the story, and it shows a silhouette of the X100 and the X Pro 3.
Yep.
And then it says there's another rangefinder that's essential to our story.
Yeah.
Or there's another rangefinder series that's just as essential, is the exact wording. When telling the story of our X series history. So that really, basically, they're saying it's a rangefinder. It's a rangefinder that's been part of the line, part of the X series line, and it's just as essential to their story. That does narrow it down a bit.
It does a little bit, doesn't it?
Unless it's some cryptic thing in there that I'm not seeing.
No, I mean they who knows? They could be referring to a film camera for all we know, but we doubt that very much because it's an X series, and I don't think they can call a film camera an X series necessarily. I'd say they'd call it something else. But yeah, it does kind of narrow it down. So what we do know about Fujifilm is obviously we've got the X100 series, very, very popular, just going from strength to strength. We're up to the Mark 6 now. I have a prediction that when Fujifilm turns 100 in a decade, they will release the Fujifilm X100X. It will be the 10th edition to celebrate their 100th anniversary. That's my prediction. You heard it here first on the Camera Live, folks.
I'm going to write that down.
Yep.
X100.
Seal it in an envelope and put it away. Do not open until. So we know about the X100 series. We've also got the X Pro series, which the last one was X Pro 3, which from memory, when did that come out? That came out just before the pandemic kicked in. I went to the launch in Sydney. They released the fancy X Pro 3. You could also get a special version with a special coating on it that was even more scratch resistant than the Duratec that was on it. Very expensive. A lot of people were quite shocked, and this was pre-COVID back then, about the price of the X Pro 3. It was a premium product, and then COVID hit, and that just completely screwed Fujifilm's plans, I think. So there's the X series, the X Pro series, which is well and truly due an update, because that last one it's been discontinued. It was discontinued at the end of 22. Came out the sort of just before COVID, so in the end of 2019. And so it's been 6 years since we've had a new launch of an X Pro. And when this all sort of started bubbling up a couple of weeks ago, I remember messaging you and saying, I think it's an X Pro.
I know.
I'm sure it's an X Pro.
And I was like, I'm excited. Is there no chance it's an X Pro, do you reckon?
No, there's still a chance.
There's a chance, and there was those rumors kicking around of two cameras, which now seem what would be odd though is because they put that teaser out, that one we just saw that has an X Pro silhouette in it. So it's kind of like it would be odd for that to be in the teaser, and then they're saying there's another style, and not mention. Yeah, I don't know.
I think what happened is I saw this teaser. Can you bring up that one with the X Pro in it just for a sec, please, Justin? I saw this one and got a bit too frothy, and I didn't actually read the text.
You didn't read the text. You were just like, new X Pro.
And I thought that looks like an X Pro, and so I missed so the third rangefinder style, I guess you could say, in the X series fleet is the XE series. There's been a bunch of XEs. There's actually already been 5, even though we're only up to 4. So the XE1 came out very early on. It was like one of the first Fuji cameras that came out. It was kind of like an entry level version of the X Pro. The XE1 came out mid 2012. The XE2 came out towards the end of 2013. They then did a refresh of the XE2, which was a little baffling at the time, and they did an XE2S in 2016. That didn't last very well or very long, and they quickly, the following year, did the XE3. And then the XE4, which is the one that I bought, came out just at the end of the first year of COVID, at the end of 2020. And that's my primary shooter now, is the XE4.
Let me just, I'll pull this down for 1 second. Greg Carrick says he thinks it will answer the complaints people had of the XE4. So it will gain a back control wheel, IBIS, and the latest sensor, which would be the sensor out of the XT5 and other cameras, 40 megapixel.
Yeah.
Won't get weather resistance as it's already pricey. Okay, that's an interesting. Yeah, because I guess that would no weather resistance would help differentiate it between the XT5 and maybe the X Pro line. Does it have weather resistance? Yeah, so it's like, would they maybe have to ditch that to try and keep some sort of hierarchy if they did? Yeah, I don't know. We've also got a comment from Spencer XOX. Sony good. Spencer. Sony good. Fuji can be better.
That's a great photo of that cheese bed. So let us know where you're joining us from. Oh, look, he's here, Nick Fletcher. I piqued his interest.
Nick Fletcher as well. Just joined. Have they launched a pocket-size IMAX camera with film simulation and f16 lens and no IBIS? Well, not yet, but it is. It's live. It is currently live. I've got it up in another screen, so don't worry, you're not going to miss out on anything. I'll let you know if anything exciting is happening. But they're just doing some drone shots of Shanghai.
We can't show you while we're on YouTube.
I can show you a little bit, but not much.
I'm going to bring up a second teaser with the little window.
Just show you the drone shots. Look at them. Look at those beautiful drone shots. I think this was shot on the X1/2. Anyway.
It has wings.
Let me bring the other teaser up just while they're doing their intros.
Mm-hmm.
This was the next teaser that came out yesterday.
Yep.
And this was a lot more of a teaser.
Roth factor is elevating.
Yeah, yeah. So it's teased the little lens that had been rumored, and it also teased this little film simulation dial that has so the other film simulation dials they've introduced have been on top of the camera, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, completely exposed, so you can see the whole dial.
Yeah, whereas this one, the dial's kind of looks like the dial's just inside the body there a little bit, and then there's a window to see which one you've selected, and that is very cool.
Yep, it looks clean based on that half a second teaser that I just watched.
Yeah.
So Fujifilm are now just showing off some people playing with all different cameras of theirs.
A lot of GFX stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Good question here from editor Seb. Where is it for the photography challenge? What's IBIS, lads? In-body image stabilization, and basically it just means the sensor. They just put the sensor on a little bit of jelly on the back of the camera, so when you shake the camera, the sensor stays still. Basically,
it's like flubber.
Flubber, yeah, they put flubber.
Yeah, they put flubber in them. It's green.
It's basically that. Green. And if you release a camera in 2025 without IBIS, there's a solid chance the internet will set you on fire.
Absolutely. Matt Crummins will, at least.
Yeah. Who have we got here? Cameron Leaney. I just bought a new, to me, X Pro 3 last month, so let's hope it's not already obsolete. That's a good point.
Good purchase. Well done.
Yeah, look, I'm sure you'll love it regardless, but yeah, it would suck for it to be an X Pro 4 to come out if you've just got it, but we'll see. I don't know. As much as we'd like it to be, I don't think there's been enough teasing of that style of camera on their socials. Don't know.
But that film simulation dial is really cool, because remember a lot of early rangefinders, it was like the whole, how you call Leica a watch company. There were a lot of cameras, rangefinder style especially, even 35mm old film cameras that had little dials in the top for different things. Some would be set up, some would be larger dials with like clock face, but that would be for exposure and all those sorts of things. So it's a bit of a throwback, and it's also a throwback to film cameras, because you'd have that little window that would tell you what number what number slide you're up to in your film.
Yes.
What frame you're up to. So, yeah.
Yeah. Let me just see what's going on here.
They're just doing a little preamble. They're in a big exhibition space.
Yuji and Stephen are just having a bit of a chat about.
He's got a cool haircut.
What the X Space showroom. Yeah, we're definitely not yet at the release. There's a comment here from, where are we? Rashid Attar. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but hey Rashid, thanks for joining us. Have you heard a rumor about XT6, XT60?
No.
I haven't, but I mean the XT5 is getting long in the tooth. When did that come out?
The XT5 came out just at the end of 22. So it's not quite, and the thing with the XT5 is that I think it was the first one where they pushed that 40 megapixel sensor, the IBIS, and the X processor 5 Trinity, and they've kind of landed that fairly well, and are looking to use that in more cameras. We saw the same processor in the X half even, because why build a whole new sensor when you've already got them done? The XT50 had the same, didn't have the same sensor, but it had the same processor. The GFX 100S2 had the same processor.
What sensor is in the X Pro 3?
The X Pro 3, I'm pretty sure it's the 26 megapixel, the same that's in my XE4.
Right. Do you reckon you could really see them rolling out the 40 megapixel sensor that was debuted in 2022 in the XT5? Do you reckon they could roll that out into a new generation X Pro 4 without it being kind of outdated? Do you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so then it would be like whatever camera we're going to see today, highly likely that it's going to have that generation sensor.
I would think
unless
so.
it was lower, maybe unless it was lower megapixel for a lower line of camera, but
yeah, they might go with a 26. It depends on what the camera's for. What market, because they're sticking to their 40 megapixel, their 40 megapixel X APS-C CMOS 5 sensor, X-Trans 5 sensor. And then there's the GFX 100. It's the XM5 came out with the 26. So it's like they've got 3 sensor sizes now.
Yes.
2 in the X series, 1 in the GFX. And that, they're talking about rangefinder style cameras on the
I'll pull it up for a second.
Look at that wall of gear. Holy.
I think we can bring it up for, 7 seconds or something.
XE series. He's saying it. XE3.
Is he gonna? Oh, I don't. I'm just gonna pull it down for a second.
There's the XE4.
Going back on again.
He's gonna keep going.
I don't know. Oh, it's another XE4.
Oh, there's 2 of them. All right, stop there.
Okay, we'll pull it down for a second. They're teasing us.
They are.
They're teasing us.
Scoundrels. Yeah, so they're talking a lot about the XEs.
They are. Do you speak Nick Fletcher? What is this? Can you decipher his comment?
He's betting that a Z Pro 4 next year will come out with a Brabd new sensor, XT6 sensor. He's just talking gobbledygook.
A Brabd new sensor, XT6 sensor. Okay, so you reckon
another silhouette?
Nick reckons that they'll be working on something, because they'll have to, if an XT6 comes out, they would have to introduce something into the sensor, wouldn't they? Maybe not necessarily more megapixel, but some sort of update stacked or something.
Or they'd focus on readout speed and focus performance.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So they'd do like an X processor 5 with a... It is an XE5.
It's an XE5.
Official folk.
Oh, that went black just as I brought it up. Okay.
There we go. Some old dude with it. Who gave it to him? Why haven't I got one? You bastards.
Yeah. You're older than him. You should have it.
Shut up. I'm not.
I'm kidding.
He's more like Greg Carrick's age.
Okay. So, all right. So it's an XE5. Greg. We're keeping on top of it. It's an XE5. Don't you guys worry. They haven't mentioned any specs. They're just doing some cool B-roll of people walking around the streets with it. It's mostly their feet.
Oh, he's in Japan. Oh, what a bastard. I'm so angry right now. It should be me in Japan with the XE5.
There's a lot of comments on their YouTube. People are like, is it possible to buy it or is it already oversold? That's a bit of a Fuji burn. Like, will they have stock? Won't they have stock? I guess it's a good problem to have. Sell out of everything you release.
Yeah, it is a good problem, isn't it?
Okay.
It's interesting. When we were looking at the rumor site the other day, that little square that had what looked like an LED flash was huge on that mock-up.
Yeah.
But on this, it doesn't seem as big. It's pretty much. Yeah. Well, this one here is quite small, actually. Yeah, so maybe it is a flash. Well, this one doesn't have a flash. I don't know why they would need a flash on it. Seriously, it's got a hot shoe.
It's a way to embrace your life with joy, this camera, just so you know.
Much joy.
You get a lot of joy from the 4. Imagine how much joy you'll get out of the 5.
Oh, my froth level has just gone
It's
through the roof.
It's a 25% increase just in the number alone. Oh,
here we go. We might
Right.
get some specs here. Oh, that's a good-looking camera.
no specs yet. Good shot of it.
It's got a
Oh.
nice little bump. So this one here, this is the XE4. This came with an L. You could buy an L plate separately that came with an expansion grip on it that Fujifilm made, and a little thumb resting at the back.
Hang on. We've got some specs coming out. The sensor is equipped with the 5th generation X-Trans CMOS sensor, which achieves a high image quality with high resolution 40 megapixels.
40 with the X processor, 5 with the latest autofocus system. So that's the same autofocus that was on the XM5, which at the time of launch was the fastest.
In addition to the improved image quality made possible.
Sorry, folks, if anyone's actually listening audio only, this is going to be excruciating for you.
We'll
it's
read
going to have
through.
IBIS.
It's got IBIS. It's all right, guys.
It's got IBIS. Nick Fletcher. It's got IBIS. Matt Crummins. Rejoice.
7 stops at the center, 6 stops at the periphery. I've never heard that sort of mentioned in that way before.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's based on Super 2024 standards with the 35mm 1.4 lens on it.
It's a good-looking camera.
Okay. Listen to this. So you can get subtle blur when you're quickly raising the camera during daytime, but if you have IBIS, it can help that, unless you've got the GFX 100 RF, in which case you don't need IBIS. I'm sorry, I can't help
It's the same. It's the
Sorry,
same
Nick.
height as the XE4. It's 3.5 mils wider than the XE5. So they've packed a bigger sensor and a 40 megapixel sensor and IBIS into something that's the same size as this.
What's it? What did you say? Only 3 mil wider, and that's the only increase.
Yeah, I don't know about thickness.
Wow.
They didn't show that, but
Yeah.
girth, whichever way you want to put it. You know.
Okay. And that's all right. So we've got the most important stuff out of the way. Now they're going to discuss the history of the XE series with a local photographer.
So they're calling it the 5th generation, even though it's the 6th camera. I don't think Fujifilm liked talking about the XE2S
because it was a bad camera.
It lasted less than 12 months. It was an interim upgrade. I don't know why they did it. Maybe they couldn't get components or something. But even when they brought up the graphic before that showed the XE1, 2, 3, and 4, there was no mention of the 2S.
Ooh.
So it's like the black sheep of the XE family. We don't talk about Brad. We'll call him Brad.
Wow, the comments on big live streams are just ghastly. I hope our chat never turns into this. I love our chat. You guys are amazing. You guys are all so nice. I don't think anyone's ever said anything mean in the chat. There's 6,000 people watching the Fujifilm X Summit at the moment, and the comments are just wild.
Yeah, it's just
yeah. Wow. Let's get anyway.
Who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah, I know. That's the one I just read. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So they're talking about some of the inspirations like the X Pro series and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's huge.
It's okay. So it is it's the XE5. It's what you've been dreaming about. It's Greg's dream camera.
Yeah.
We know it's got the 40 megapixel sensor. So we know exactly how that performs. It's gonna take essentially the same photo as an XT5. Am I correct?
Yeah, well, it's now got the flagship Trinity. It's got the same sensor, processor, and IBIS as an XT5.
Yeah. So performance-wise and autofocus as well, latest autofocus. Does that mean potentially even better autofocus than the XT5?
Well, I think they rolled out firmware. I think it's all on par now. I might be wrong on that, but I don't have an XT5, so I haven't really paid attention to it. But it will be the best at the moment. Yeah. Because it'll have the latest tweaks to whatever they put in the XM5.
At the very least, it'll be on par with an XT5. So pricing-wise, what's going to happen? Is it going to be cheaper than an XT5?
What's
Is it
an
going to be
XT5
dearer
at the
than an
moment?
XT5? Street price 27 or 2,800 in Australia, but I think the retail price is higher than that. And I reckon this could end up being one of those weird things. Remember when the XT50 came out and it was basically dearer than buying an XT5 because it was at retail and everyone was selling XT5s a bit discounted because it's been out for a few years. And the lower spec camera was actually dearer at launch.
Yeah.
than the higher spec camera, and it was a bit weird.
Yeah, it
And
was a
so
bit weird.
I
And I think
wonder
it
if
was
we're
a
going
sign
to see
of
that.
the times that there was a big gap between the XT5 and the XT50 coming out. And
Yep.
when they made the XT5, you know, things weren't great, but we've since seen that there's rare earth materials are running out, silicon's harder to make for chips. There's a whole bunch of stuff, global conditions, price just went up on the XT50 and push it up above the XT5. It was a really weird state of affairs. So when you're looking at product to product, it didn't make sense. But when you look at the environment that we're living in, it makes sense. Of course, it's going to go up. Everything's going up. Like everything costs so much more now than it feels comparatively than it ever has. And I think even Jesse Hisco said that a few weeks ago when we interviewed. He said it's never been more expensive to be an Australian, to live in Australia. Like it's crazy how much everything costs now.
But and cameras are going up everywhere, and more in some places like the US than us, because of tariffs and things. So
we talked on Monday night how Fujifilm have just announced they're reopening or retooling 4 factories in Japan to move production of their leading products for America only from China back to the Japanese factory, so they can avoid the tariffs that Trump has put on China. It's exciting. Look, and putting out what was traditionally sort of less of a entry level, more of an enthusiast level camera with pro level features is wonderful. And maybe that they will make an accelerated leap when they bring out an XT6. Maybe they will go to a 60 megapixel sensor like the Leica Q. It's not like that technology doesn't exist. It's just whether it's cost effective and whether consumers will want it.
The Q's full frame though, surely they wouldn't go.
Oh, they won't go full frame, but they could push up 50 or 60 megapixels.
What, in a crop sensor?
Well, why wouldn't they? They got to 40.
Yeah, I don't know.
Technology continues to shrink and evolve, and maybe they'll introduce an AI chip that does automatic upscaling in camera. Who knows?
Yeah,
they're just showing some screenshots.
Yeah, hang on, I'll bring that up because you can actually see that
the film dial.
That is
tucked
cool.
away really nicely.
Yeah, I like that. There's a lot of people throwing mud in the comments over there about pricing. Yeah,
there's one
that
here.
It's going to be expensive.
Styled living. I would like a lighter alternative to the Leica Q343.
Gosh, it weighs 700 grams with an epic lens on it. Calm down.
Yeah, I think this one's about 400.
Yeah, plus a lens though.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it is lighter, but anyone that's complaining about the weight of a Leica Q3 is like, I mean, it's certainly not the heaviest camera on the market, but yeah. This looks like a beautiful little thing.
Wow, the top plate has been machined from a block of, I don't say what metal, but from a single block. So that whole we saw with the Sigma BF and anything that you buy from Apple, that kind of unibody.
But it's just the top part, obviously, rather than doing the Sigma's the whole body of the camera, which is why they've had to go so minimal on it.
Oh wow, it's beautiful design.
So what do we got?
Slick, isn't it?
Drive delete on the back play. Yep, and there's interesting.
There's no command dial. Sorry, Greg Carrick. There's no
easier fingering on the dials. That's funny. That's what he said. It said easier fingering.
Did he?
Yeah, that's what it said on the live stream. Tim Siyama says looks nice. Slap on the new 18 or the 27mm Pancake. What 27mm Pancake? And that's a 6 street or everyday carry setup.
The existing 27 f2.8 Pancake.
Oh, what are they? There's a rumor about another lens. That's what I'm waiting to see. They're talking about the film sim dial.
I like that. That's really nice.
Does look nice. And it's on the other side, so it's like, you don't change it with your main shooting hand. You only change it, like, it's not going to be that often, so you don't need to have it when
it's
on
only
the main
for shooting
side.
JPEG, really.
Yeah. But I would use it. And having it on where your left hand sits, I think, is much better than somewhere on the right hand side of the camera. So I think that's great. What's the little knurled thing on the
I imagine that's the diopter.
On the side there. Oh, yes, it would be.
So in this one, it's a dial it's hard to show because it's all black, but there's a dial next to the EVF on the back plate. This one, they've put it on the side above the lug or below the lug. What is that? A Bluetooth button.
Whoops. Oh, no. Bluetooth button on the bottom. Interesting.
Like a rewind button.
Reminiscent of the film cameras of yesteryear.
Seems like an odd choice.
The button is machined by metal. Interesting.
If you put an L plate on it, that's going to be a pain in the ass. I'm sure you can access it from the menu, but
they're saying basically that they've pushed hard for a classic user interface.
The word classic comes up a lot in this commentary.
XT5 has evolved the classic elements of the X series, pursuing the dignity of a camera that, and then it changed. We'll hope you feel the care and the details that went into every part of the XT5. I think Greg will. I think Greg will feel all the details.
He's the boss. The boss is back.
Is this the boss? Okay.
Yeah, he's the CEO of.
Greg Carrick's thinking about Australian 2,600 for the body.
Yeah, I reckon.
It's got to be somewhere near that. But an XT5, 27, 2,800. Oh.
Yeah, but
if it had weather
although
sealing,
XT5 has weather sealing, dual SD UHS2s.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see what they do with video in this camera.
Yeah, I think that's where about to.
Whether they go flagship, because the sensor and the chip can do it. We know that.
Do you think if they really hampered the video capabilities, but also brought the price down, that would be the right move? So say it was like 2,300, 2,400, but the video capabilities are way lower than like the XT5.
I don't know. I think
since it's got the processor, you just throw it all in there.
I think it's just there. It's just baked in already. Like, why would you? I think, it was that whole thing of years ago when digital video started moving from camcorders into DSLRs at first, and then mirrorless more, obviously more. There was hesitance at first for people to take on video and put video into cameras. And now I think there's going to be a hesitance. No one's going to want to put out a camera that doesn't have good video anymore.
Yeah.
It would take some bravery, which, Fujifilm has been brave in the X-Half doesn't have very good video.
The X-Half has horrendous video.
Yeah.
But obviously that's different. Every time
look,
I think about that camera,
there.
I think, why'd you call it the X series? Just call it, make a new series.
Yeah.
Could have been a new series. Anyway. But yeah, okay, you're probably right. And since it's got all of the tools in there to be a pretty good video camera, it would be silly for them to cripple it just for the sake of differentiating their product lines. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love them to put out a camera that didn't do video and just cut out some of that, what I consider to be bullshit that I don't care about.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I can't be that. I can't have that sort of mindset.
But also, I mean, it would only make sense to do it if it actually brought the price down and allowed them. So maybe if they were like, look, if we remove video, we don't have to worry about cooling in the body, so we can make the body more compact or something like that.
Yeah.
I'd be like, yeah, do it. But if they're just leaving it out because, we want to make a camera that doesn't do video, then they're probably cutting out too much of their market, I think, for something that is purely just software.
Yeah, it's there.
Well, I mean, it'd be cool if with software they could do it in a way where essentially if you put the camera into photo only mode, you never see anything about video until you go into like the root setting menu and enable all video settings. Like something where it makes this really simple user interface that never has any kind of video options. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Oh, they've gone outdoors to shoot.
Yeah, they're trying out film simulations. So don't worry, guys. You're not missing anything over on the live stream. You could have it up in a different window too if you want to watch it along. We would love to, but I think Fujifilm would copyright strike us and we'd lose everything.
FS1. Oh, so they're letting you make your own custom film simulation recipes. So you can actually import recipes with, you could do it with the Fuji X app.
Mm-hmm.
But you can also build your own in camera and save them as custom recipes. But this is allowing you to then put those customs as FS, so film simulations, your own, on the dial. So you can create your own magic, your own look.
I was going to say, because that's been a thing for a while, creating your own look. But this is the first time that you've been able to assign it to a film sim dial.
I think so. I mean, yeah, you've always been able to do that sort of thing in the quick menu.
Yeah.
And you can also, and you could when you did the raw to JPEG conversions in camera, you could build your own recipes up and save them. But yeah, this is going straight to the dial. Oh wow, and there's heaps. You can change a whole bunch of stuff, which is cool.
In the chat, Paul says, at the Bright Festival of Photography, I asked Jen, the Canon rep, who's a legend, by the way, if there was any market for a pure stills camera that was optimized for that and no video. Simple answer, no market. Even better answer, yes, definitely a market. Leica has found it. It's just not a market big enough for Canon to play in. So I see why she would give that answer, but there absolutely is a market. Leica have built it around how many of their, I mean, I know their SL series, but all of the M series, like essentially are useless for video. And they sell, but it's just a completely different type of market.
Yeah. And like I said, I think everyone's so heavily invested in the architecture of having video on the chip already,
Yeah,
it's a whole new R&D thing to build a new chip that doesn't have it.
I'd be pretty hesitant to buy a camera that did no video.
Yeah, they're just talking about a classic display. You can concentrate in this display. The design of the numbers inspired by film crowd. So you can change how your info is displayed.
Yep, I actually really like it.
Is that in the EVF or is that on the screen or is it both?
I think they're talking EVF, but
surround view mode. So, wow. So it shows like a cropping frame.
Out of frame area will be shown.
Out of frame area will be shown.
Yeah. That's already on GFX and stuff, isn't it? In the crop modes.
In the 100 RF, it is.
Yeah. GFX 100 RF, and I think in the other ones, it's so there's just multiple ways you can either black out.
Hang on, it's got a digital tele converter as well, so you can zoom 1.4 or 2 times when using a prime lens.
That's just cropping. They keep calling them digital tele converters,
but it's 40 megapixel. It doesn't matter.
I know, but it bugs me when all the cameras do it, and it's like they're just crop modes, but it's not. Yeah,
you know what, Justin? Anyway. Maybe it's just not for you.
So it just said the details remain intact. Yeah, like cropping. It's just cropping.
Oh my God.
It's just that's one of those ones where they've figured out how to sell a feature that's been available in my Canon has a crop mode. It's called crop mode. They should have called it digital teleconverter. They could have sold way more Canons. What?
There's some wordplay. Oh, you mentioned a new lens. What kind of lens is it? They're going back to Ruya from Fujifilm China. Hey, Ruya. Cool pants.
Yeah. Cool pants.
It's like Kung Fu Fighter. I shouldn't say that.
That's
so racist. Sorry. That's terrible.
It did kind of look like a ninja outfit.
These cool spaces. Where are they finding these cool spaces?
I don't know. They look expensive.
Second new product for today from this sophisticated, looks like a tea house or something.
Long-awaited lens.
It's the best match for the XT5.
I'll be the judge of that.
So last year they're talking about the 3 lenses they launched. There's now 44 XF lenses.
Mm-hmm.
That's not counting retired old versions.
Oh, yeah.
A new lens is one of the most popular focal lengths for the lineup. A 23 mil. The third current 23 mil. I think there's one that's retired.
So that's the 35 equivalent?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Great street lens.
Yeah.
So I have a 23 mil f2 compact prime. It's not a Pancake. But I love it for street. It's such a good field of view for me. It's kind of my daily lens.
So what would you want to see in a new 23 mil that would make you buy a new one?
I don't know. It's hard. It's already... Oh, it's a Pancake.
It's tiny.
2.R. It's got an aperture ring. It's weather resistant.
Yeah, so a 2.8. So if you put that on this camera, you've got something that's very similar to the X100 6, but the X100 6 is f2, this would be f2.8. But other than that, form-wise, you're very close and no optical viewfinder.
So I have the Fujifilm X f27mm f2.8. That's their Pancake lens. And so this will give you a little bit of a wider field of view. It's an interesting proposition because if you already have that, if you already have any of the other 23s, like it'd be nice to have the, don't get me wrong, I'll probably get it. But you know, it's only a few mil off the 27 f2.8. Like it's really close. And that came out with the XE4. So they remade the 27. The original 27 didn't have, the original 27 didn't have an aperture ring and it didn't have weather sealing. And so when they launched the XE4, they revamped the Pancake 27, and they added an aperture ring like all Fuji lenses, and they added weather sealing.
It says this one's weather sealing. For example, even in light rain, you can quickly take this lens out and capture photos with confidence.
Yeah, but
we've managed to
I don't
pack.
know what the camera is.
We don't know yet. No. Pack advanced features into the thin design. Yeah. Okay. The greatest feature of it is its weight and size. It weighs 90 grams.
90 grams. 23 millimeters deep.
So, okay, same size as the 27. Is the same size as the 27, but it's a 23 mil.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got a much more complex lens assembly inside than the 27.
Yeah.
So yeah, this will be added to cart.
You need it?
Well, it's kind of my style, isn't it? It's small, it's lightweight, it's compact.
So the XE5, like the previous XEs, have come in silver or black. Do you think this lens will come in silver and black as well?
Yeah, she's holding up a silver one now, and every now and then they show a black one.
Okay.
Yep.
What will you get?
I'll go all black. I think editor Seb asked that question a little earlier on. I'll stick with all black like the XE4. I prefer all black cameras. I'm a street photographer. I don't want showy, shiny cameras. I just need something subtle and discreet.
Yeah.
8 elements in 6 groups, including 2 sphericals. How do they fit so much into it?
Yeah, there's a lot of. So the big thing is the XE5 going to be weather sealed? They haven't mentioned it, but you know, a weather sealed lens release would lead you to think it would be, but then you're saying that the previous release with the XE4 was weather sealed lens and non-weather sealed XE4 body.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, they did the same thing with the XE4 launch. Oh, that's a cool cross section.
I'll bring it up.
So they've cut it in half.
Yeah.
Far out. That's amazing.
I've seen that guy on YouTube that cuts stuff in half with a water jet. It's pretty cool. I bet you they got that guy to do it.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, very cool.
You know, when you think about so this is it. This is my XE4 with a 50 mil. The 23 is only a little bit shorter. Like it probably comes to about there. But this one will be like there.
Yeah, it's tiny.
And on a compact camera that's that powerful, it's going to be a great, a great walk around option, a great everyday carry option, or regardless of which camera you put it on, it's going to be a great lens. It's going to be compact, it's relatively fast in terms of brightness. For most people, it's going to be a great lens. You know, if you don't want to fuss around with the zoom and you just want a 35mm full frame equivalent prime, it's going to be hard to pass up. But as for what it's going to cost, that's another thing.
Greg Carrick says,
what do you think, guys?
Greg Carrick says, I'd prefer an ISO dial over the film sim dial.
Yeah, I know.
I would as well. Although I actually do love, when I'm traveling, I really love setting up my cameras to aperture priority, auto ISO, and exposure compensation. And it bugs me that some cameras don't handle that very well because I want the exposure compensation to be where my thumb is. And some cameras, you can't set it up like that. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Whereas it seems all of Fujifilm's cameras can be set like that.
Yeah. I would rather an ISO over an exposure comp because I shoot all manual controls apart from focus.
Yeah. I only like to shoot not manual when I'm traveling just because it takes all thought out of I can forget about photography. Whereas if I'm going out to shoot, I want to sort of engage with it and I'm happy to shoot manual. But if I just want to romp around and then grab shots when I can, but I'm mostly not thinking about photography, I love the camera to be doing the work. But I also like to be able to quickly control my exposure with one dial.
Yeah.
Exposure compensation. And I reckon this would obviously do that perfectly because it's got that dial just sitting right there near your thumb.
Yeah. Interestingly, on this one, on the XT5, they put a little toggle under the shutter button, like what they've got on the X Pro series and the X100 series. I don't know if you can see it. There's like a little lever. It's under a finger. I don't know if they've talked about it.
Let me see if they've done any releases yet on their socials. Like, is there any pictures we can bring up that won't get us flagged? No.
Nothing yet?
No, they mustn't be putting it up until the live stream's over.
Oh, no, she was holding an XE4. The XE5, yeah, it's got a little toggle.
Yeah, I see that. What do you... Is that... Do you reckon that's for the digital teleconverter?
Yeah, it might be. Or maybe you can just set it to something.
If you could customize it, that'd be cool.
Yeah, Fuji's are really good at customization. Look at these places where she's photographing. That's phenomenal.
Oh, hang on. There's people complaining about the prices, but
really,
I don't know if anyone's advertised
where are the prices.
Because would it not be? No one would have it on, on B&H or anything like that.
I don't know. Let's have a quick squiz.
I'm doing some Googling. No, the X half comes up when you Google the XE5. I'm not seeing any prices yet.
Fujifilm body only. Let's go with most recent, newest. No, XT50, XM5.
No.
Interestingly, all those cameras on B&H are back ordered.
Are they?
The XT5s, most of the XT50s, and the XM5s are all back ordered, which is probably because they've put a hold on it while they moved to Japan.
Yeah.
Wow, there you go. It's a bit of a beast.
Yeah. Well, it's what you've been dreaming about.
And it's there's a lot more refinement to the design than there is to the 4. I think the 4 is a beautiful camera, but there's no protruding eye cup, so it's all just flush with the body and just a simple circle of rubber, I guess, I imagine, around where the eye would sit. I need to know what the screen is. That's the other deciding factor for me. If it's one of those flip-out twisty screens, then that's going to make the decision really hard.
There was a rumor site that had a leaked photo where the screen was flipping up like yours does currently. So that was a good sign. But yeah, they haven't actually shown that at all in this video. That's interesting that they didn't show that at all when they did the release. I haven't even seen anyone shooting with it tilted out.
No, and there was a shot earlier of one of these girls photographing 2 men sitting low, and she was still using the rear screen. She wasn't using the flip screen at all. So
wasn't it tilted?
Maybe it's fixed. Nah, they wouldn't do that, would they, in this day and age? A fixed.
Well, Greg Carrick's asking where the film winder is. So, there's that. Tim Siama says, apparently the leak price is $16.99 USD for body only. Interested to see if that pans out. Right. So you haven't seen that on B&H or something. That's just from the rumors. Because, that would end up putting it, I think, very similar to the price. A bit over the price of the X100. I'm not sure.
So Fujifilm are just on the video, they're showing off their 23mm range. There's a 1.4. There's a 2.8, which is this new one, the Pancake, and then there's the original 23 f2 compact prime, which is what I've got. I love that lens. But yeah, I mean, for daytime shooting, which is what I do mostly for streets, at 2.8. I mean, I mostly shoot at f8 anyway.
I was going to say your style is not
Yeah.
usually. Yeah, there's a lot in focus, so it's not really.
Yeah,
an
I don't
issue.
usually go wide open. Not with that lens.
And then you gain the lightweight, compact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it's a good looking lens.
Get your checkbook ready.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, the next
now we need to find out.
When does it come out?
Yeah, well, that's the other thing. When's stock coming out? Is it where I want to know? So the price. Is it weather sealed? What else? What does that little button do? That's near the shutter button
on the screen. What is the screen? Because no one's using it.
Nope.
Not as a tilt or touch screen. So far, we've only seen people looking at it flush against the back of the camera.
I just want to read out some of the comments that are coming up. Andy in Taiwan says, this is the comments in the live chat of Fujifilm's thing, not our live chat. Our live chat's awesome. Andy in Taiwan says, Fujifilm really lacks creativity. All of their cameras models have almost identical specs with only minor additions or changes, just like Apple, and they still sell them at ridiculously high prices. Well, Andy, you start a camera company and you make some cameras because it's probably not that easy. Isn't that crazy? Like they lack creativity. They they just released one of the most creative cameras that's been brought out in years, other than that Sigma BF, the X half. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's actually pretty creative to wedge a giant sensor into the GFX 100 RF as well. So yeah, like, oh, here are the prices and release date. But anyway, Andy's posted that chat 10 times.
So this is in euros. How do you work that out? 1549 euros, including tax, 17.99 with the lens.
So
or 4.99 for the lens on its own.
Euro to AUD would bring it to 2,750 Australian dollars, but their VAT is usually about 20%, and our GST is 10%. So maybe that would bring it to 2,700, 26.99 in Australia, maybe.
What's 1,800 euros in Australian dollars, mate?
One moment, sir. 3,200 Australian dollar dues.
So that's for the camera with the lens.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, they're all waving goodbye. Bye.
Yep.
I love you. I mean, bye.
You know what? I just realized I don't think their presentation was live. I think that was pre-recorded.
Well, given that it went from day to night, yeah, I think it was.
And there was drone shots and everyone was waving by, and now it's going through the credits of all the people that were involved in filming this, and there's like 50 or 60 people in the credits. That's a lot of work to do a production like that. That's crazy.
Yeah, well, that's good.
And they saved the price for the end and then just put it in euros, even though it was released in Shanghai. I don't know.
What channel is that on? That's just on their global channel too.
Fujifilm X series, yeah.
Right. Interesting.
All right, so we had a watch party and we haven't learned a lot. I mean, we learned what camera it was, but we didn't learn everything.
So you know all that amazing work that I do for Lucky Straps and the Camera Life? I think it's time to discuss a pay rise.
What?
I'm gonna need it.
Oh, I was like, well, hang on, what for?
Yeah, why are we doing this live on television?
Yeah, okay.
Live on the internet.
Yeah, you need the whole kit. You want the camera and the lens. That's your
ideally, yeah.
Assuming it is what it is when it gets tested.
If that conversion is the same, because prices are often different. Yeah. Like it's not a straight conversion currency to currency necessarily, because each region has different taxes and all that sort of stuff.
The comments, even though it's stopped, somehow the comments are still flowing through. And there's INA. I
just saw that too. Yep.
I could buy like 4 cameras for that price, bro.
It's like, get fucked, you idiot.
What cameras? What cameras? Not the cameras I buy.
You can only just buy 2 X halves, and that's like half the cameras. That's only one camera.
Yeah. Wow, that was okay. That was cool.
And then someone a little bit later on says, Ina, then do so.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Go buy those
gosh,
cameras. Why are you watching this live?
Yeah.
Oh dear, that's funny.
Someone, Daniel Malato, has said, this is the beginning of the end.
So
Someone else said,
what do you reckon they're upset about? The price or the specs? Not? Do you reckon?
With internet people are just pricks.
I mean, it's got IBIS. What else could they want?
This is the end, though, Justin. This is the end of something. This is the beginning of the end, Daniel said. I want to ask Daniel, what do you mean, Daniel? Can I
hope
Daniel?
The CEO of Fujifilm comes out and just makes like a talking face iPhone video that he released on the internet that just says, we put no IBIS in the GFX 100 RF to keep the price down. Everyone yelled at us. We put IBIS in the XT5, but the price had to go up. Everyone yells at us. We can't do anything. We can't win.
Tamer Chowdhury has said, I don't know what Fujifilm is doing. This is such a silly camera. They should be focusing on the due XT6 or the long-awaited X Pro 4. Should they?
I don't know. I feel like this one was due for release before those ones are. Maybe the X Pro 4, but actually, okay, I'm going to flip it around. If this was my company and I actually knew more about cameras, I would release the X Pro 4 before the XC5. You always release the flagship, and I would consider the X Pro 4 the flagship of the rangefinder style cameras in the X series. And then you release the flagship, and then 6 to 12 months later, you release the not flagship that has almost the same specs, but is far cheaper and more affordable for the people that couldn't buy the X Pro 4. And they're like, oh, well, my dreams have been answered. I couldn't afford the X Pro 4, but I can afford an XC5. And then that's how you do it. It's odd that they would go around the other way.
Well, we don't know. There's so many factors. I mean, they've got to tool up a factory. They've got to have a factory that can accommodate it.
They might be wanting to do something special with the X Pro that's taken longer than they thought when it comes to. They do that with the bodies and stuff. Honestly, I'm probably getting in trouble for this. I'd love to see the X Pro be close to $5,000, but be amazing.
Yeah, like a Leica.
So this XE5 really fits that more affordable category, which is still not that affordable. Like, it's still getting up there in a camera price, but it's the XE5 is the camera for people that want a high performing camera, but aren't too fussed about the blinginess of whatever they could make the X Pro for. That's how I would try and do it. Yeah.
An X Pro 4 is Fujifilm's kind of answer to Leica. It's a statement piece. They're built like, and I often say this about how, you could hammer in nails with this camera. You couldn't with a Canon, but you can with Fujifilms. But putting that aside,
please,
the X Pros, like the X Pro 3 or the X Pro 2 one, even, like you could build a house with them. Like they're just rock solid, and people are still rocking them. They just keep going. The X Pro is a professional grade rangefinder camera from Fujifilm. The XE is an enthusiast level version. It doesn't have dual card slots. It doesn't have weather sealing. It doesn't have an optical hybrid EVF. That's going to be expensive for them to manufacture in the next model of the X Pro. It's a step back, but it's still, at the end of the day, it's still a 40 megapixel sensor with IBIS.
Glenn, Creative Photo Workshop, says this will be 3,000 AUD, so the Pro 4 will have to be $4,500 to $5,000. Yeah, that's.
I think it's going to be at least $4,000.
So it's probably just, even if they don't essentially they don't have to hike the price much. It's just that with inflation and how camera gear's all gotten more expensive over the last 6 or 7 years since the last X Pros come out, it's gonna be $4,500, even if they don't change anything.
Yeah, well, the X Pro, the XH2. What is that? The XH2 is body only. That's 2,000 American. What's that roughly?
3,000. XH2S or the XH2.
Sorry, the XH2S. The XH2 is 2,000. The XH2S is $2.5 US.
Yeah, so that puts that at, well, I'll just check the Australian price. XH2S 3347 currently, which is a bargain.
Yeah, but it was like 38 when it came out.
Yeah, retails 4,200.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So that's already pushing that boundary, and that's running a 26 megapixel, primarily because it's video centric. It's a hybrid camera, but it's kitted out for video. The sensor is a video sensor. It's not a billboard photographing sensor.
Glenn said 3,300 and then said he was $47 off. You were close. Very close. Roger Highland says, I think the GFX 100 RF is the flagship rangefinder style. You're probably right. Yes, I was talking X series. I guess GFX is X series. I think of X series as
they put them separate.
Yeah, I think of X series as crops, and yeah, GFX sort of jumps that. But yeah, it is interesting because that GFX 100 RF is kind of the thing that ties those two lines together, because it's like the step up from the X100, but it's also part of the GFX line. It's the link camera between the GFX line and the X series, in my opinion. Why do I know so much about Fujifilm? I shoot Canon. I don't even care.
I don't know. I don't know why that is. It wouldn't be anything to do with me chewing your ears off for 3 hours while we're in the van on the way to Bright.
You know how many times I've been close to buying a Fujifilm? And, well, I've owned multiple ones of X100s, but I've been that close to buying. I seriously looked into the XHs, seriously, as a sports camera to try and lighten the load for mountain biking, but then Canon kind of did that anyway with their RF lenses and stuff. But yeah, I've checked them out. That many times I've looked at GFXs. I even went into the Fujifilm House of Photography and fondled them.
Oh, you didn't tell me about that. How was that?
I didn't want to. I felt guilty. I didn't want to tell you.
You felt dirty.
I
cheated on Greg.
Yeah. So I went in there and I picked it up and I put is it the 50 mil? The 3.5, like the really compact GFX, and I put that on it and I thought this would be nice to rock around with. And yeah, the guy he had white gloves on to get the cameras and lenses out. Put white gloves on, like Leica style. Like
Japanese taxi drivers.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it was like.
Yeah, I love it. They all wear suits and they all wear white gloves.
Yeah.
Nothing on B&H yet. But yeah, I think that's big. I think it's good. And like we always say,
you think it's more good cameras it's in what hands. You want.
Well, yeah, obviously, but I think for consumers it's good.
Yeah.
You know, if you want something a little more entry level, get an XM5. You know, what are they, like $1,500 without a lens? Well, it's pretty affordable. Next step up, you grab an E5 for about $2,700 for body only. And then you either grab yourself an X Pro or wait for the X Pro 5.
Or if you just want a great Fujifilm to shoot, you really can't go past that XT5 because it seems like it's got all the tech that these new cameras have in it, and it's getting sold at a discounted price, and it's got dual card slots and weather sealing, so it's going to be a more professional option. So if you want the tactile dials and feel, but can handle the slightly bigger body and non-rangefinder style, having the viewfinder in the middle, the XT5 really still is probably the camera to buy.
I'd say so. Yeah.
Value,
and it's going to be the most. Oh, the other thing we didn't find out about was the battery, because the XT5 uses a bigger battery because it's powering a much more hungrier processor and IBIS, that trinity of performance. So it'd be interesting to see what battery they put into this XE5 to manage that performance. The other interesting thing to look out for is that in the past, when they've released XE cameras, like when they've released the X100 series, often they do accessories that Fujifilm put out themselves. Like, these are not third party, these are branded Fujifilm accessories. So with X100s in the past, they've done half leather cases, full leather cases. When I got my XE4, I got the Fujifilm made thumb grip that slides into the hot shoe, the L bracket with the extended grip. And these were all made by Fujifilm, or at least they have their name on it. And I wonder with this camera whether they're going to accessorize it like they have in the past. Because I do like me a bit of bling on my camera. I think I even wrote an article for Lucky Straps about bling up your camera, I think.
That's right.
You know, shutter buttons and hot shoe covers and little things to make it your own.
Pimp it
It'd
out.
be a very expensive week for Greggy.
Uh-oh. Yeah, after you switch too, it's all happening. Greg Carrick says, it's a nice camera, but for me, I'll stick with the XE4 and dollars in the bank. All right, Greg, Greg Carrick this is that I'm talking to, what would it have taken? What would they have had to cram into the XE5 to make you want to upgrade? Or was it never really on the cards for you? Were you sort of thinking, I'm cool with my XE4 and I'm not upgrading? Yeah. What tech would have got you to make the jump?
Yeah.
Double IBIS?
Yeah. And the same goes for anyone that's watching or listening along at home. Just a reminder that this is the Camera Life podcast, proudly brought to you by Lucky Straps, maker of fine leather camera straps from Bendigo, Victoria. Head to luckystraps.com. Get yourself a discount, 15% off using code GREG at checkout, GREG. But we also run two regular shows. We run a Thursday morning show, 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time every Thursday. We interview a photographer. And then every Monday evening, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, the Random Photography Show, where a bit like this, we just talk about whatever's happening. We talk about news and rumors. We do a bit of image review. We might look at some, funky stuff that's happening. But if you're in the chat and you're new to the show, say hi. Let us know where you're watching us from. Make sure you like and subscribe. Helps us out a lot. We're a small channel. We're growing.
Rashid, where are you from? Rashid says, I hope the XT5 has new firmware with features like the X-Half. Interesting. What features do you like? Is it the
film camera mode?
Yeah, the film camera mode where you can't see your images and you have to shoot until you get it done. And then do you want it to use that new X-Half app to be able to get your images off? Is that the sort of stuff? Like, what is it about the X-Half shooting experience that you think you would like in the new XT5? Because it is something we've talked about is, he said yes, film camera mode. We've talked about, if Fujifilm are going to release that X-Half and try and get people into photography with that style, they're going to have to start to bring some of the things that people like about the X-Half into their pro or prosumer cameras. Otherwise, people are going to want to upgrade, but they won't because it doesn't have the stuff the X-Half has, if that's what they like. So it'll be interesting to see if they build that ecosystem out of the X-Half. Do they start putting, the film camera mode into all their cameras as firmware?
Yeah.
And it works with that X-Half app as well, or separately, or maybe they update the whatever the X series app is. I don't know what it's called.
I'm really surprised with the X-Half, given how much they focused on the film aspect of it, that they didn't put the film dial on top of it instead of the exposure compensation dial. So it's got one dial. It's that big round exposure compensation dial. I'm really surprised they didn't make that a film sim dial. Most photographers that are using that camera won't use an exposure comp dial.
Well, they should be, though, because that's the first step in taking control of your photography. If you don't, because you can't shoot manual with that camera, like you said, it's like menus after menus to try and control your manual settings. So the first thing I use it when I shoot with my phone. I almost always adjust if it's for anything important, I adjust the exposure because the auto exposure rarely gets what I'm looking for. So having exposure compensation available.
That's all I've got.
You're a nerd.
Such an old school nerd.
Nerd. Hey, Lucinda. She says, hello.
Hey, Lucinda.
So I guess that's kind of it, really.
I think
certainly join us on Monday. I'm sure we'll chat about this camera in more detail on Monday. I'm sure at some point Greg's going to try and get his hands on one, whether he has to purchase one or whether he can try and get his little Fujifilm friends to get him one to play with first.
I've made some inquiries. I've put in a request.
It's currently submitted the paperwork.
I have, literally. It's currently sitting with Fujifilm Australia, so we'll wait and see if they're going to send one my way. Typically, they do. For those of you that are new to the channel or don't know this, I write photography reviews for shotkit.com. If you head to the shotkit.com reviews, cameras, Fujifilm, almost every article in there is mine. It's mine, I tell you. And the same goes for all the lenses in there. Pretty much all of those are mine too. They typically send me out the newest camera. Usually I would have had it by now. In the past, I've had pre-release. I've had them before they go live with the Summit. But this time, sadly not. Which is, of all the cameras to not get early, the one I'm most excited about. What is that? That's terrible.
It's funny. It is like, it's kind of like they're messing with you. They're like, let's not give you
Charlie
this.
Blevins. It's that Charlie
Yeah.
Blevins. He goes,
Like,
don't send one to Greg. It'll drive him nuts.
That's funny.
But yeah, so stay tuned. So I hope to get, there's a very good chance I'll get one soon. I'll take it out, test it, write up a review. There's go from there. Petapixel got some stuff up.
Yeah, stuff's starting to filter out onto the internet now. So you guys can go and hunt around and see what you can find on there. But there's more pictures. This is on Petapixel, so you can get a bit more detail of the top layout. Look, Greg. It tilts.
Oh, Greg Carrick, rejoice. Shane
Everybody,
Henderson, I know you're watching at some stage.
It's tilty screen. Is it tilty?
It is. It's a tilty screen. I wonder if that's all I need. I just need it to flip up. I don't care.
So I was laying in the dirt today, trying to take a photo.
Rural life, yeah, rural life.
It's what we do out here in the sticks. So I was laying in the dirt, trying to get a pan shot of the drivetrain on a bicycle, a mountain bike. And the drivetrain is the bit that the cogs, and there's the chain goes around the cog, and then it goes down to the back cogs and the derailleur that changes the gears and all that stuff. There's a nice new one of them coming out. I was shooting a review for it, and Will, the legend that I work with, was like, "Do you reckon we could get a panning shot of just the drivetrain?" And it was harder than you would think, because there's a lot of movement. And you have to be very, very close. So you got to pan quick, but at the exact right speed. Anyway, I was trying to do it low to the ground, and the stupid Canon screen is like the ear that, it flips out and to tilt. And honestly, that was it, trying to line it up. I ended up giving up and just guessing my framing, because trying to line it up when it's not directly behind your lens, but you're trying to pan to frame a very fast-moving little drivetrain, it was actually really difficult. And I would have killed to have just a regular tilty screen on the back to be able to do that shot today. It was a pain.
Yeah. It's down to a couple of. Someone's just pre-ordered it.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go with that. Ramac.
Hey, Ramac.
I just
where are you
pre-ordered.
From?
Yeah. Where are you from? Tell us. Everyone tell us. Where are you from? Just pre-ordered mine, chat, and I'm not happy. Hang on. And you're not happy about it?
I think he's being sarcastic.
Worst case scenario, I'll keep the lens for my XE2 and sell the body right.
Yep.
So what aren't you happy? What were you hoping for? And why did you pre-order it if you're not stoked?
I think he was being sarcastic.
Okay, mate. Well, yeah.
What's from Chicago?
Thing? Oh, that's cool. Must be early there, right? Chicago. Is it like 5 a.m. or something?
Well, if you're a Fuji fan person, then you're going to be watching that Shanghai thing. And then Rashid, hey again, Rashid, and Rashid's from Indonesia.
Oh, very cool.
Welcome.
We're going global.
Thanks for jumping on. So I think in answer to Rashid's question, was it? He asked about why not an articulated screen.
Oh, yeah. Hang on. We'll do that first. Why Fujifilm
I think Justin... Use...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about that? Do you think he means articulated like I'm talking about with
like
Canon,
you said,
where
the
it flips
flip out, rotate?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a good photo shooting experience. It's useful for sort of being able to turn your camera around and do vlogs and stuff like that. But I'm pretty sure, because your XE4, like this screen should flip all the way around, right, Greg? Like your current one.
Yeah. So this one here, this is the XE4. It actually flips up. So if you want to do vlogging or selfie,
it's kind of the best.
It cuts off. Oh no, you can just see it cuts off about 2 mil of the bottom of the screen. But it also flips down, so you can, shoot in a crowd if you're at something and you've got to hold the camera above your head. But I often, being a street tog, I often shoot from the hip, so I have it mostly just out at between a 90 and a 45-degree
So-
angle.
And
The XM5, I love the XM5, but it had that flip out articulating screen because it's a very video-centric camera. This is more of a photographer's camera. Nowhere in that presentation did they talk about video.
they did, but not much. They did very briefly. They had a videographer on there, and then he said, "But we want to talk to you about you've been shooting stills with this camera." So it was for a second.
It's going to be a photographer's camera.
Yeah. So my Q3's got just a tilty screen on the back, and it doesn't even go to like 90. It's still got a bit of an angle.
Cheap.
But but I love that. I love the way that works. I love the way the Nikons used to work. Nikons were annoying because you couldn't turn them around to see yourself video. It was actually a bit of a pain.
Yeah,
But I think they fixed that with the newer ones. Sony's got the best flippy, and one of the new Lumix does. But yeah,
the XT5 one is good because it flips up, it flips down, and then it's got a third axis, so you can do portrait photography, and the screen will flip up.
Yep.
Along the for vertical. You love vertical.
I hate vertical. Ramac, not sure, says, I'm excited for the new camera, but not happy about the price. What was the price over there with the, so what was the price in the US with the lens? Tell us that. And he says, yep, 5 a.m. over here. That's awesome.
Love your dedication.
Editor Seb says, time is no obstacle for Fuji fans.
No.
And yeah, it's a photocentric camera, not video. And I think it's definitely the right viewfinder for that camera, that's for sure. So for hybrid use, is XS series right?
Yeah, so for entry level is the XS20. That's very video centric, and you can also attach Fujifilm's cooling fan to that for prolonged or extended video recording at high everything. But the XH series, XH2, XHS, XHS2, they're more the kind of enthusiasts moving into pro grade hybrid bodies. Yeah.
Finn in the comments. Good to see you, Finn.
Hey,
Thanks
Finn.
for joining us. Where are you from? We're trying to find out where everyone's from. It's a fun game.
Oh, there we go. Finn answered that too.
Podcast. Says, yes, XS10 by far the best option in the price range for hybrid. Oh, sorry. He says XS20.
XS20, yeah.
Yeah. And Ramac says the price in the US for the kit was $2,093.65 after state sales tax, which is pretty good. So what does that what does that work out to?
4,200 Australian.
No, that can't be right.
I'm joking.
Oh, 3,221 Australian dollar dues.
Oh, it's about the same.
Yeah,
that's what we're going to pay, probably. Right. Oh well, we don't know yet, do we?
No, I can't see it. Hang on, I'll do another Google. No, that was about
camera brand.
That was about what we come up with based off the euro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, $3,293 based off the euro conversion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creative Photo WS. Oh no, where to go? The 2780. That's for the body only, I think.
Is it? And then he said miles off. Maybe it was just a guess.
I don't
know. Finn says greetings from the Netherlands. Hey, that's cool.
Hey, Finn.
Thank you. I think you're our first Netherlands listener.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
You're as far away as you can get.
Join us again.
Closer
in
to
the
go
future.
to the moon.
Subscribe if you like.
Those that like to watch Petapixel with Jordan and what's his name? Chris Nichols, Jordan Drake. They've just dropped their XE5 review.
Did you call him Christicles? That's a fun name. Let's call him that from now on.
Christicles.
Christicles.
And Jordan have just dropped their XE5 review.
Okay. Of their video.
Yeah, the video.
Because I think this article I'm looking at, the Petapixel like press release kind of one.
Yeah.
And that's usually followed by their Chris and Jordan's actual review. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. On that note, the control lever is akin to the one found on the GFX 100 RF and provides short and long pull customization both left and right, giving photographers 4 actions through that one little lever. This lever. Yes?
Plus it's a button.
And it's a button.
I think. Well, it is on, I think it was on the X100s and the Pros. Maybe it's not.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's cool. So short and long pull.
Let's see what else we're talking about. All right. So the sensor's nothing fancy. Same one we've seen in other cameras. AI-based subject detection. Yep. Sounds good.
I really like this top plate design. And at the back, if you just go back up a bit for me, mate, the way that there's just that fine line. No. Go back down the back front.
Oh.
Scroll down to the silver one. Stop.
I was there and you said go back up.
This I love how minimal this is.
Yeah.
I love the way that they've cut the groove out of the top plate, so you've got access to the new film dials there on the left.
I like how minimal it is, but I also like I would probably end up wanting more buttons, but because I love buttons. But this little button here, a Q button, I assume that's a quick menu type deal. Yep. That's great. Is this a focus nubbin?
Yeah. Menu, focus, all of it.
All of it. Yeah. I wish that was higher, but otherwise, this is good.
Yeah. My only concern is ergonomics. So
it's very flat.
There's no thumb bump. There is a small grip at the front, which the 4 didn't have. And like I said earlier, had to get that L plate, the Fuji L plate that had the little grip at the front of it. It's fine if you're going to use that new Pancake or the 27 Pancake. But if you go and drop a bigger lens on there, like one of their red badge, pro grade zooms or something, you're going to need a better grip. And yes, there's a lot of third-party options out there, and that's fine. And don't forget to always put a good quality leather Lucky Strap camera strap on your new camera. But it like I said, it will be interesting to see if they put out a grip as an accessory, and or a thumb rest at the back. Yeah,
I agree. Rashid wants to ask: Is this live stream only ask about Fujifilm, right? Well, I mean, this one was about Fujifilm, but normally we talk about all sorts of stuff. So we, as Greg said before, we do interviews with photographers every Thursday. Those photographers can be from all walks of life. We've had surf photographers, night sky photographers, gallery owners, landscape photographers that are gallery owners, motorsport photographers, everything. Lucinda Goodwin, who was in the chat before, live music photographer. We've had wedding photographers. We've had everybody. Plus, there's a group of us that come on regularly on Monday nights. We shoot all types of cameras from Canon, Leica, Nikon. Greg shoots Fuji. And Greg Carrick, who's been in the chat, he jumps onto. So this is no holds barred. Ask any questions you want. Yeah. We talk about everything. And that's where our Monday night shows are usually, they're centered around whatever you guys want to talk about, we talk about. Pretty random. Travel photographers, cough.
Sorry, mate.
Oh, hey, Rashid says, I'm actually an event photographer and a cosplay photographer. Well, I tell you what, we have had a cosplay photographer on. What's his name, Greg? It's coming to me.
Ian Tan.
Oh, for some reason, it was coming to me as Eric Tan. I was like, that's not right. Ian Tan. I can't remember what episode number it is, but go back and check.
It was pretty early on when I joined.
Yeah, so we've gotten better. Ian was great though. Where is he? Ian Tan, way back, probably like episode 40 or something.
Yeah, I was going to say about 40. 30. Look, Rashid, hit subscribe, and then when you get some time, go through the back catalogue of episodes. This is actually episode like 88, I think. And at the moment, we're doing 2 a week. This will be our 3rd one this week. We've got a whole bunch of stuff there, covering every possible genre, every approach to photography, film. We've got a big guest list lined up for the next 3 months, and we're looking at expanding what we offer on this channel. So stick around. And most importantly for us is that we want your involvement as a community. If you've got questions or comments, or if there's a topic you'd like us to discuss or a guest you'd love us to try and get on the show, then we're here for you. We're not just doing this for us. We love giving back to our community, and this is how we thought we could do it best. So here we are.
We're here for you.
Yeah.
Episode 24.
Oh, wow. Way back.
I
It
believe.
must have been one of my first.
There's something. Yeah, it was
It's
early
like my
on.
second or something. I think. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Seb's on it too. Episode 24. Thanks, Seb.
Oh, there we go. Thanks, Editor Seb.
Yeah, so go check that out. Cosplay. Good interview. We'll have to get him back on at some stage. And otherwise, I don't know. That's probably pretty much a wrap for this thing. I just scanned through. Wow. The Petapixel review title is Fujifilm XE5 review. No longer a beginner's basic camera. Was it a beginner's basic camera? Are you a beginner, Greg? And is it basic?
I've taken the odd photo, but I don't think it was a beginner's camera. They're more like the XA series was actually Fujifilm's beginner series.
So what's
they were
going
pretty
on with
plasticky
this?
and.
Why are they throwing rocks? Greg
because
Carrick in the chat. Did you know that you're using a beginner's camera? Do you want to upgrade to a better camera?
It's a baby. Oh my god.
Dear.
All right.
Let's
call it.
I like picking on the internet. Yeah, let's call it. I'm just trying to find. I was trying to find out whether this thing's weather sealed or not, but maybe we'll just have to wait and we'll talk about that on Monday.
We'll cover some more. Hopefully by then I might have one, as well as some confirmed specifications from Fujifilm Australia. So be sure to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon for all notifications, and then you get a bit of advance warning. But also, we'll talk more about this camera among other things on our Monday night random photography show, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. Do the Google thing to work out what time it is for you in the Netherlands or in Chicago or in Indonesia. But we would love to have you on.
We put all our upcoming live shows on YouTube. So if you check out the channel, it'll actually tell you what time it's going to go live in your time zone. So YouTube's pretty good like that. It's fun.
Yeah, true. That's another good thing to do. But look, I think we're going to call it for tonight. This is our second podcast today, so I'm kind of pooped.
Yeah, I'm tired too. We'll see you all again on Monday. Thanks for joining us. Yeah. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
So, hang on. Greg Herrick says the XE4 was pretty minimal, so maybe that confused them.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks everyone. Thanks Greg. Thanks Editor Seb. Thanks Rashid. Good to see you. We'll see you again. Ramak, don't know. Finn from the Netherlands. Amazing. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. Who else was in the chat?
Dave,
Paul,
Digifrog,
Roger Highland, Glenn Lavender, of course, Tim Siamis, everybody. Thanks everyone for joining us. Digifrog Dave. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye. Now I've got to find somebody to pre-order it.